This is my presentation over A Conversation with My Father by Grace Paley. I'm going to read a little bit of the story and then explain my three elements that I have. My father is 86 years old and in bed. His heart, that bloody motor, is equally old and will not do certain jobs anymore. It still floods his head with brainy light, but it won't let his legs carry the weight of his body around the house. Despite my metaphors, this muscle failure is not due to his old heart, he says, but to a potassium shortage. Sitting on one pillow, leaning on three, he offers last-minute advice and makes a request. I would like you to write a simple story just once more, he says. The kind de ma Maupassant wrote, or Chekhov, the kind you used to write. Just recognizable people and then write down what happened to them next. I say, yes, why not? That's possible. I want to please him, though I don't remember writing that way. I would like to try to tell such a story, if he means the kind that begins, there was a woman, followed by plot. The absolute line between 2 points which I've always despised, not for literacy reasons, but because it takes all hope away. Everyone, real or invented, deserves the open destiny of life. Finally, I thought of a story that had been happening a couple of years right across the street. I wrote it down, then read it aloud. Pa, I said, how about this? Do you mean something like this? Once in my time, there was a woman and she had a son. They lived nicely in a small apartment in Manhattan. This boy, at about 15, became a junkie, which is not unusual in our neighborhood. In order to maintain her close friendship with him, she became a junkie too. She said it was part of the youth culture, with which she felt very much at home. After a while, for a number of reasons, the boy gave it all up and left the city and his mother in disgust. Hopeless and alone, she grieved. We all visit her. Now, it's only a short section of it, but it's something that should help get my point across. So my first element is the setting. The setting of this story is in the father's bedroom, as you could hear when I read in the very beginning, in the first paragraph, even in the first few lines. It talks about how her dad couldn't move, so he had to be in his bed, and he was lying on one pillow, leaning up against three more. We also are told about this setting that later in the story that he has an oxygen tank, because after she tells the story, the second story, he tells her to turn up to 5, and he takes deep breaths because he needs the extra oxygen for his body. The next element that I'm going to be focusing on is the characters. There are 2 main characters in this story, and then there's 2 kind of like side characters, you could almost call them. I'm going to focus on the main characters. So the main characters are the father and the daughter. What we know about the father is he has heart problems. He can't walk. He's 86 years old, and we know all of this from the first paragraph. Now, the daughter we don't know as much about. We just know that she is a writer, she cares for her fathers, and we know that she doesn't accept tragedy. Now, the reason we know that she doesn't accept tragedy is because that comes from basically the theme of the story, which is that her father wants her to accept the fact that he's going to die and there's no happy ending to it, and he wants her to be able to move on. Now, there weren't a lot of you can't really put a lot of examples in this, but the reason we do know that she is a writer is the father asked her to write another story, imposing the fact that she used to write stories in the past. And then I'll move on to my next element, which is point of view. And because of the point of view that we have, we get a closer look into the narrator's mind of what the father is saying. Whereas if we had the father's point of view, we might get a deeper in depth of what he wants truly out of her. So the point of view is first person from the daughter's perspective. And the one example is in line 1, it simply states my father, which is showing that it is the narrator's daughter, or showing that the narrator is the daughter of the father. The other example in this is in the 3rd paragraph. It reads, I want to please him, though I don't remember writing it that way. Showing again that the narrator is talking about her father from the first person point of view. Overall, I thought this was a good story. There actually was a decent life lesson in it, and we do have to, as a society, learn to accept tragedy as a part of everyday life. And that is my presentation. Thank you for watching.